An exciting night of boxing here at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, and this one, of course, for the IBC Continental America's Poobah Junior Welterweight title. It'll be Tony Martin and Donald Allison. Tony Martin, a guy who was thinking world championship, and he is, with good reason.
Tony Martin was once thought of as a boxer just good enough not to be a contender. That's all changed now. This 27-year-old Philadelphian is on a roll. He's won his last 6 bouts, including this one over Howard Stewart. Not known as a KO artist, Tony showed power in taking Stewart out. Ricky Myers was considered a top prospect when he faced Martin. He left this bout with a loss. Tony won a decision. The big win came against former champ Razai Bramble. Uppercuts were key weapons. And to pierce the tough Bramble defense, Tony did an excellent job. He proved he could handle world-class boxers. And next on his agenda is Don Allison. And then he hopes for even bigger game.
And now the keys to victory in this one.
Well, for Martin, his uppercut has become such a huge punch for him in the last few fights. He's got to use it well, got to counter punch well. But to do that, he's got to make Allison come to him. Allison wants to make Martin come forward, box him, and make Martin be more aggressive. Win the jabbing contest for Allison. If he does not do that, trust me, he is out of this fight.
And the IBC rules.
And the big difference there is no standing 8 count involved, as there was in the New Jersey rules.
And we mentioned Donald Allison, not a guy who's a real threat to get you out of there, but he does have the respect of Tony Martin, and that's what makes for an entertaining evening, we hope. There is a look at Donald Allison.
Big bout for him. He knows this is his chance to make a mark in boxing, and there's Tony Martin.
Tony Martin, incidentally, will have quite a rooting section. No fewer than 17 buses came down here from Philadelphia to root him on. Just listen.
Very popular figure. Now, see, can I make a fashion comment?
Please.
I like that. That's flashy, but somewhat understated.
Understated. I like the pearls.
Yeah.
All right, let's meet him now with Michael Buffett.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, present the featured bout of the evening, sanctioned by the Intercontinental Boxing Council. This bout is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Larry Hazard, Senior Commissioner, board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison, Deputy Commissioners Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner. Chief Physician at ringside, Dr. Frank B. Doggett. Attending physicians, Dr. Eric Wormser and Dr. Paul Williams. The timekeeper is Arthur Spell, counting for the knockdown seconds, Rudy Battle. The 3 judges for this contest, Vinny Ranoni, Eugene Grant, and Al DeVito, and the IBC President and Supervisor at ringside, Mr. Marty Cohen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Donald Trump's Taj Mahal Casino Resort here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant IBC Continental America's Junior Welterweight title. The referee for this contest is Tony Orlando. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with gray trim. He weighs an even 139 pounds. He's originally from St. Louis, Missouri, but now fighting out of the Germantown section in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 21 victories with 6 KOs against 3 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Pound for Pound Martin. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black and blue leopard trunks, weighing an even 140 pounds, originally from Georgetown, Guyana, but now living and fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. His professional record, 13 victories, only 1 defeat and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald the Spirit Allison.
Okay, gentlemen, I expect a clean fight, and I expect you to listen to all my commands. I want to wish you luck. Touch gloves, go back to your corner. Come on.
And there's a look at Donald Allison. Very quiet, very intense young man. And in the other corner, Tony Martin. And Tony, personality-wise, the exact opposite of Donald Allison. Very outgoing. knockout ratio. Well, Allison.
Now, normally Tony Martin, his KO ratio 25% is less than his opponents, but in this case it's way more. It's 0%.
That is interesting because most fighters, by accident, early in their career, get knockouts.
That's true. Well, obviously, you have seen on the trunks of Tony Martin, and there you get a glimpse of it, that ribbon. That is in honor of the fighting men in the Persian Gulf. I believe his reserve unit. Some of the men are over there, and so he does that to honor them. Now you see early in this bout Allison trying to make Tony Martin come to him. Very important strategy so he can counterpunch. Really two counterpunchers here. But Martin has felt a little bit more comfortable being aggressive, I think, in these recent bouts.
One of the things I really do like about Tony Martin is there might be a tendency for some other fighters to think that this is an automatic W and not really pay much attention to Donald Allison. And you just know Tony Martin is not doing that.
Because he can't afford to. Every time he has been in a position where he could have a big win to get him over the hump, he has not done it except for the Razai Bramble bout. And so he doesn't want to ruin it by losing here. And I'll tell you what, Tony Martin is about a 50 or 60% more confident boxer than I saw him maybe 2 years ago. He believes he can win, and what's more, he believes he can punch with more power, which he is doing.
He's been very impressive in his last two. Because his last two opponents have been tough opponents. Razai Bramble and Ricky Meyer.
And in Allison, he's facing a guy who obviously has very good hand speed, good skills.
Good jab by Martin. Left hand. And a right hand by Allison.
Excellent first round.
Very good first round for both men, but Martin the better of the two.
Tony Martin with this very quick lead right hand. We really have two quick-handed boxers in there. Because Don Allison has been landing his own lead right as well.
First round. Martin more effective, much more effective actually than Allison. Allison looking to counter.
Yeah, in terms of percentages, yes, although the numbers clearly not a huge difference.
This is a title shot after a fashion. Tony Martin in the black trunks, Donald Allison in the blue trunks, and I think Martin hurt Allison.
And Allison immediately moving as he wants to do, but Tony Martin comfortable tonight in the role of the aggressor. Doesn't look alien to him at all. And part of that is I think he believes now that he is a boxer who can hurt somebody, who can really stun them or take them out. Well, this division, this junior welterweight division, is just filled with excellent boxers. We saw Terrence Ali beat John Meekins. We saw Charles Murray perform beautifully against David Taylor. And here's Tony Martin, who would dearly love to box anybody in that category.
I think Tony Martin's a guy who champions will give a shot to also. And unfortunately, it's because people don't think he can punch.
That's true. And then we got to mention our veteran Harold Brazier, who just keeps on winning. Allison recovering very well here. And using his movement very effectively.
Nice left hand by Allison.
He's not a huge puncher, but he is quick.
Good shot there. That got Martin's attention. And Allison opens him up with the left hand again. Martin counters. He turned him around, counter with the right hand.
Wow, this is a superb match. was almost as if Donnie Allison said, I've got to earn some respect here or it's going to be a very difficult night. And he did it.
Second round, and I don't even know whether or not Allison won that round, but he certainly did earn the respect of Tony Martin.
Oh, no. You got it.
Got to put some more pressure on him, Tony. All right. Okay. Got to put some more pressure on him. Got to keep the jab out there. Right. Watch out for the charge. Inside, work the body. Work the body. Don't pull out. All right. Don't pull out. Step around. Okay? You got it. All right. Keep your hands.
Donnie Allison had his moments. There is a good left hook that landed. And also, now there's that shoulder into the face of Martin. Watch this. That is exactly how Sammy Fuentes broke Martin's jaw a couple of years ago. That's like deja vu to this man, and that's why they said in the corner, watch that jaw, watch him with the... It looks like he's got war paint on.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? It's his Vaseline that's been spread on his face. Good confidence-building round for Don Allison.
Oh, very much so. You know, you see the hand speed that Donnie Allison has. The no knockouts, really, it is extraordinary. You got to get a knockout by accident earlier in your career.
Yeah, even by cuts or something, you would think. In the second round, Allison really picked the pace up very well.
And midway in that round, there's no question he stunned Tony Martin.
Although for fast-handed punchers, those are not huge numbers.
No, that's true. That is a very good point. You'd think they would be landing a little better because their technique is good. It's not that their technique is bad. Maybe that speaks to their defense.
Shot by Allison again. We've given each man a round.
First round to Martin, the second round to Allison. Now there's Martin feigning to the body, looking to land to the head, and just missed with the right hand. It's the uppercut by Martin, but Allison very quick with his punches. Donnie Allison is probably the quicker puncher of the two, even though Martin has quick hands. But I think ultimately Tony Martin is a little more powerful, so it'll be a question of that power versus the speed of Allison. Martin cutting off the ring. Very well. Look at very nice move by Martin. He's not following Allison around.
You know, another factor too is that the judges have to be very careful, I would think, in this fight, not to be influenced by the crowd, because the crowd is very pro-Martin.
Yes, a very important point, and they need to really pay attention to what's landing and what isn't landing. Martin is just a little off with that straight right hand. Landed. That's where he wants Allison. Now, not all of those landed. As you said, the crowd went wild. That's uncharacteristic. Martin with a little showboating.
A little low punch, too.
There you see how effective the movement of Allison is in getting away from that straight right hand by Martin.
Allison is fighting what would have to be described as a very crafty fight.
Yeah, this is his game plan. This is what he wants to do. Getting just enough exchanges with him to do well.
Well, once again, a very tough round to judge. Into three. Not feel that Bo Jackson deserved to be in the Pro Bowl. He said, how can you make a guy who's only played half a season a Pro Bowl player?
Because of his part-time status.
Right.
Huh? It's interesting. I would have thought it would have created even more controversy than it did. And even Bo was surprised.
through the first 3 rounds, very, very close. And I think that's the story of the fight. Very, very close.
And you know that 35 and 34% is not real high, but it's not too surprising when you consider that both these men are good defensive fighters, and they're throwing lots of punches.
Nice left hand by Allison, and he got out of there.
Martin going to the body, and Barry, that's something he's kind of ignored the first couple rounds. He needs a good body punch. Good uppercut. He wants the uppercut now. He knows on the inside he can land that punch. And I was waiting for him to start to really throw it. I mean, he really used that punch a lot against Razai Bramble.
Here's the exact opposite, and I realize the experience factor. We were talking about Robin David in the last fight lining up squarely in front of his opponent. Donald Allison is just not giving Tony Martin very much to hit.
It is a good analogy, even though they're fighters at 2 different levels. It shows that what the difference is. You know, also, Donnie Allison just landing that left hook. There's one surprise here. He's got a good left uppercut, Allison. I didn't think he would land the hook as much as he is against Martin.
Martin got there with a straight right hand. Martin doing a good part of his damage when he gets Allison in a corner. And Allison is not real quick to get out of the corner. Here he is again.
Martin looking for that straight right hand. It was there in the first round, not so much since then. And again, going back to the uppercut. There you see the good defense. Allison with a combination, but nothing getting there. Funny, Tony Martin casting the role of puncher in this match.
Yeah, it is funny.
Just not the norm. And he is in against a very clever and slick boxer.
This time Allison doesn't wait. He gets out of there right now.
Does not want any part of being trapped in that corner.
So now there again, a good example of the crowd reacting on a punch that was missed.
Tony Orlando doing a good job of letting them work their way out without interference. Martin not accurate with those shots. The left hook out there.
Allison pretty wild. Not many of those punches in that last flurry landed. They're in Allison's corner.
He don't got nothing to hurt you. Let me tell you, he don't got nothing to hurt you. So you can fight with him back, baby. Okay? Take your breath. Hard. Hard. Okay. Very good. Very good. Only thing you have to be work with him only. That's all you have to do. Bam, bam, bam with him. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. Very good. How you feeling?
Good. Like a champion.
Right?
You're the champ. You're the champ. We gotta take it.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Take your breath.
Come on, champ.
Hard. Again. Okay, this is yours, I'm ready. Only you, I have to wait. Not try knock out. Quick, bam, 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 bam.
A little earlier this evening, here's the left hand, and Allison hit him with the hook. There it is, and then pops him with the shoulder. And that was the concern on the part of Martin's corner. As I said, that's the exact same maneuver that Sammy Fornes used to break Martin's jaw. In a bout in which, by the way, Tony Martin was doing quite well and looked like he might be stepping into that next level of fighter.
A level at which he is now at as a result of Razai Bramble. But I'll tell you, Allison couldn't be doing things any better than he's doing them right now.
No, yes, you're right, Barry. He is making this the bout he wants. Whether he wins it this way is another question, because he's in against a tough guy, but he is giving himself every chance for victory. And you can't ask for more than that.
Crowd taking up a chant, Tony, Tony.
Lead right getting in a little bit for Martin. They like what Allison's doing in his corner. You heard them say good.
Ooh, nice left hand by Martin.
But I don't think that hurt Allison that badly. And Martin was very careful not to rush in and get hurt. Though Tony Martin is starting to assert himself, I think, in the last round and this round. And the left hook is becoming a very big punch for him. Again, Allison getting out of that corner, and that's where I think Martin's going to have to make a little more happen. But right here, he needs to land something, but no, it's Allison with a combination getting away. That's the kind of maneuver Martin can't allow to happen.
Allison on his bike a little bit more in this round.
Defense by Allison. Some of those getting through, but he is taking away the uppercut from Martin. An important punch for him. Martin was landing it earlier. Still, though, Martin's having a fairly good round because Allison's not throwing that many punches. There's the Martin jab, an ignored punch in the last few rounds.
The best of that exchange.
And I'll tell you what, that one landed a little bit better. It could have knocked Allison down. It's an excellent right hand.
Allison with a left hand. But for all intent, Allison really kind of took this round off. Give it to Martin. We'll be back. Round 6. Remember, this fight's scheduled for 12 because it is a championship fight. Working off the jab, Allison throwing more, but Martin being more effective with it.
Boy, that is a tremendously bad percentage. 22 out of 124. I mean, that is not good for Allison. And it's interesting, here he is in this bout and not doing that badly with that percentage of jabs landed. I would have thought he would have had to land a bigger percentage to do well in this bout. The interesting thing is that hook you saw is the punch that Allison has landed better than one would have thought.
It is, and it's really hard to imagine when you see him crank that hook that he hasn't knocked anybody out.
Yeah.
Through the first 5 rounds, Martin a round in front, but has won the last 2, right?
Yeah, last 2, and I think he started to pick up the pace. Donnie Allison told us he would love to fight Charles Murray. Watched him on ESPN, and that would certainly be the battle of 2 quick-handed boxers. Good right by Allison.
I'll tell you, if I were a fighter, I would not want to fight Charles Murray.
No, never. But if a guy is going to have a shot against him, it's going to be a guy with terrific hand speed. That's one thing Allison has. Or a guy with tremendous power. Tony Martin is underusing his jab a lot in this bout.
Yeah, he only landed 1 of those last 5 punches.
And I think the jab would help him set those up a little better. See there, it gets him in position to punch a little better. And now Allison doing a better job of circling, not letting Martin cut off the ring. As Allison continues to peck away with that punch. This is a close round.
Yeah, because this time, even though Allison is still on the move, he's throwing punches while on the move. Unlike the last round. Good right hand as round number 6 comes to a close, and we'll be back to Atlantic City after this.
Because he's been the aggressor. For Allison, he has made Martin come forward, but he has only won the jabbing contest by the narrowest of margins. So it's a mixed bag.
And that is reflective, I'm sure, on the judges' scorecards to this point.
Yeah, get back to me later on those, okay?
Round 7, 12-round fight.
And toward the end of that last round, Martin was able to start landing the lead right hand, and there he did it, just on cue.
On your card, Martin now 2 points in front.
Very close in the last round. I mean, that round could easily have gone to Allison. I thought Martin was just a little bit more effective.
Never supposed to do what Allison did, but he did it so quickly that he got away. You know, when he gets in these exchanges, Allison isn't doing that badly. But you feel like it's dangerous territory for him. This is for the IBC Continental America's Junior Welterweight Championship. Are we out of time? And it's Tony Martin and Donald Allison, and it has been a very entertaining fight so far. In fact, if you haven't been with us for the whole night, it's been a very entertaining night so far. A lot of action in all our bouts. And in this one, a very, very good matchup of styles. Two very busy boxers. A lot of those blocked by Allison, but Martin is so busy with those punches. Once again, I have good right hand. I have to harken back to how much of an influence the crowd could be in a close fight. That right hand stunned Allison. It really did. Martin is looking to load up and land it now. He should be throwing combinations. I think it's one of the only times in a fight that Allison has gone backward. Might have been the best punch of the fight for Tony Martin. Couldn't follow up on it, but I'll tell you what, he stunned Allison. Well, that's a testimony to how well Allison can handle adversity in the ring. And for the first time, Donald Allison looks wild with his punches. He might feel he has something to prove to Tony Martin now, and that is that, hey, I'm okay. There's a right hand again. Wasn't as good as the first one, but a very good round for Tony Martin. You judge for yourself whether this right hand by Martin had the impact we thought it did. Did land, whether it was as perfect as we thought to hurt Allison as much, I don't know, but he did whack him with some real good right hands toward the end of the round. This is the 8th round. Still a long way to go. Both these men apparently in superb condition. And they'll need to be because they've been throwing a lot of punches and it's been a very quick-paced bout. In round 7, Martin started to extend himself a little bit, although I would have thought he might have had a little higher connect percentage. Yeah, it seemed like it, and but he's, you know, he's still winning these, but not by huge margins. It's the jab by Martin, an important punch that he has not used as much as I would think he would. Well, he wants a knockout. Martin feels now he can hurt Allison, and he wants to go for a knockout. And conversely, he feels Allison can't hurt him. You can feel Allison wearing down a bit. He's boxed well in this match, but I think Martin's punches have taken a little toll on him. And you can see Martin pressing Allison. He's looking very much for the lead right is Tony Martin. To land that punch. That one landed, but not as Well, and if you look at where Allison's left hand is now, it is getting lower and lower toward the belt.
Well, the look, there is an important move by Martin, going to the right to the body, setting him up for a right to the head. And I think Tony Martin might want to do a little bit more of that, feinting to the body and going to the body more. Now Allison switching to lefty, kind of confused Martin.
Stronger of the two.
The jab, so important now for Martin. There's a jab by Allison, but Martin using that punch to work his way in. You feel the tide of this bout shifting. It's not that Allison is fighting that badly. It's just that Martin is starting to impose his will. And the jabs to the body and the rights to the body, very important for Tony Martin. They will open up those rights to the head, and there's one that lands.
Good round once again for Tony Martin, and he's had about 3 in a row now.
What I want you to do, I want you to fake with your left hand, like you're sweeping with your left hand, and run him into the right hand. Make a little step over to your right, and hit with a, you got it? Overhand right, listening? Say it again. I said fake him with that sweeping hook, a left-handed jab that you usually do, like a sweeping hook. Force him into your right hand.
Well, that overhand right has gotten there. There it is, just landing a little bit off the mark, getting there. And now what they're suggesting in his corner, as you heard it, is to fake with the left hook and see if they can walk Allison into the right hand. So we'll see if that strategy works.
That punch would have knocked out Francesco Damiani.
If it hit him right on the tip of the nose, yes. The jabs in round 8, Martin 34, landing 16, and Allison throwing 35 and landing 7. That's an important stat because, as I pointed out during the round, Martin was using that jab to get inside.
Take a look at the numbers in round 8, and Martin really stepped it up in round 8.
And there you see it. The percentage is excellent, and the numbers thrown good, too.
The strategy in Martin's corner, which you heard, incidentally, was basically what you've been saying.
Yeah, my variation of that has been for him to jab and throw rights to the body a little more and feint to the body. They're saying feint like you're going to throw a sweeping left hook and throw the right, which he hasn't done yet. And honestly, I think that's a tougher maneuver they're asking for.
Big right hand right there, and that hurt Allison.
Good uppercut. And that's what Martin has power in, that uppercut.
Once again, he looks for the right hand, and there it is.
Good job of keeping Allison in that corner. Good job of refereeing by Orlando. He lets them really just breaks him quickly and gets out of the way.
Long way to go, and I think Allison may still feel the effects of that uppercut.
And look at that jab. There's what Martin needs to make things really work for him.
You saw Allison shake his head, and that's like, get the cobwebs out.
The power of Martin, which in this fight at least is better, not always when he's in the ring, but it is tonight, is taking its toll now.
The right eye of Martin is swollen, or if that's just Vaseline in the eye.
The right gets there, and so does the uppercut for Martin. Well, if you'd have told me 3 years ago or 2 years ago that I would be watching Tony Martin stalking an opponent, looking for one punch to get him out of there, I would say, no, not this Tony Martin. That's the way it is today, though.
He has really turned his career, and it's not that his career was bad, but it was an ordinary career, which now has a very bright future, apparently.
And he's in the right division, at least get one big payday, and maybe win a title.
There's a right hand again. That was a little bit short, but now Martin really doing basically what he wants.
And the jab, such an important weapon in this round. It started in the last round when he landed 16 out of 34, and it's continuing into this round. Makes a huge difference. You know what? this is a fight that it is a joy to sit and analyze because both fighters really doing different strategic things.
Yeah, and there's no criticizing either one of them nor either one of their game plans. We'll be back.
The Martin uppercut, always a staple of his attack. Look at this one in the last round, right on the jaw. That one stunned Allison. And the thing that helped him so much in the last round, the jabbing. Sets up this beautiful jab, and that helped him make other punches possible in the round.
Donald Allison getting down to desperation time, and he's not a guy, frankly, who would deal very well with that.
Not a knockout puncher, of course, so he's going to have some very big rounds, in our view. It's not presupposing what the judges are seeing. Another good right hand by Martin. You know, we talked about Allison's hand speed. It has lessened in these last couple of rounds.
The jabs in the 9th round, Martin effective, Allison not.
And remember, one of my keys to victory was to win the battle of the jab for Allison. He's not doing it the last few rounds, and it is making a big difference in this bout.
It's another good right hand a moment ago by Martin.
He is landing that lead right over a lethargic left jab of Allison.
Now Martin clearly in the lead, and I think he's won the last 6 according to you.
Yeah, just dominating now, and every round a mirror image of the last one. Allison trying to box but not being as effective with it as he was early in the bout. And you hit on it, Barry. Martin figured out at a certain point that he could hurt Allison and Allison couldn't hurt him, and so he's been coming forward. And look how different it is. In the early part of this bout, Allison was landing the left hook because Martin's right hand was low. That time, you see how high his right hand was and blocked Allison's hook. So Martin has done everything better in the last 5 or 6 rounds.
Done everything better in the last 5 or 6 fights.
Yeah, that's true. And there you see the hand speed of Martin. It's a misnomer just because Allison's so quick, and we didn't want to give this impression to think that Martin is the quick-handed fighter too. He is. There's the Allison jab, and boy, he needs more of those.
Allison's idea coming into this fight was a good one, and he executed it pretty well.
Especially the beginning part of the bout. But a big failing has been his inability to land enough jabs to keep Tony Martin off him. There, look at, he missed 3 or 4 straight jabs. That's not giving Martin enough trouble.
Nice right hand again by Martin.
Only one of those punches landed, that right you talked about, but still it's Martin being very busy, putting the pressure on. I think if there's one small thing that Tony Martin would look back at and not be thrilled about, I think he should have been committing a little more work to the body. And he is a good body puncher.
And knowing Tony Martin, he would be quick to agree with you.
Yeah, he's a student of the sport. And he's having a good 10th round as well.
And it's starting to be redundant. Tony Martin's had a good 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and 5th. 2 rounds left, and you would have to think that Don Allison now would have to score a knockout to win, and that's something that has not happened in his first 13 fights.
Yeah, you can't like a guy's chances when it's never happened.
No.
Now, for Tony Martin, of course, the question is, do you continue to press forward looking for a knockout? You know Allison hasn't knocked anyone out, but you still have to think probably you're ahead. Do you do that as a marketing tool? Do you say, I still need a knockout, I want a knockout because I want to show people that I can be a top junior welterweight and maybe even knock some people out that they don't think I can knock out?
Well, by the same token, there's a little reverse psychology of which we spoke a moment ago as you look at the numbers through the first 10 rounds, and that is that guys who are champions don't particularly want to fight a guy who they think might possibly have a chance to knock him out.
That's right. And you mentioned earlier that may make Tony Martin marketable to a champion.
And on your card, it continues to be the parade for Tony Martin.
Taking care of business quite well. Allison's actually having a pretty decent 11th round here, but it just, you have to feel it's going to be too little too late. Just winning these last 2 rounds. In my view, anyway. Martin wailing away, throwing power punches. I mean, every one of those is designed to make an impact, a big impact.
Allison doing what he can.
Looks for the overhand right. You know, he never did do that maneuver his corner asked him to, try and feint with the sweeping left hook and come with the right. That's a pretty tough maneuver for him to accomplish, actually. Well, Tony Martin now is just stalking. He's just looking, trying to set anything up for one big punch that he thinks might knock Allison down.
Martin may be a little bit tired at this point, too.
Throwing quite a few punches. Chased Allison around this ring. And now notice the movement of Donnie Allison, not nearly as quick. He too fatigued. Now there you see that kind of right hand thrown in the later round when you're tired by Martin.
With that long reaching left hand, too. End of 11. 3 minutes of boxing left. The corner of Tony Martin.
That's all. Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here, one here. Right here. Right here. Nice one.
Yeah, last round, Tony, when you touch gloves.
Okay. Don't let him do nothing he don't want to do. You don't let him steal it. Working with a lot of pressure, a lot of jabbing. All right?
All right, and fight you one way. Okay, you told me that for the first round. And you're not doing it. You keep jumping back. Okay? No, it's you one way. It's you one and win.
Come on, baby.
Shut up, huh? You have to stay with the guy and fight, huh? That's only instruction you got.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 12th and final round. It's
So we start the 12th round. To the joy of the crowd, which feels its man has won this fight. So do we.
Well, Donnie Allison is now the Chicago Bears down by 7 points with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and they're starting on their own 20-yard line.
And they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, or a passing game. Boy, that's brutal. And I'm from Chicago, and I had to pick the Bears. Right. They're the best example.
Tonight, Speed Week with Bob Jenkins. I'll tell you all about the 24 hours of Daytona. Bob's getting the big bucks this week.
I'll tell you what, he's a busy man. But you mentioned too, Charlie Steiner did that interview with Sugar Ray Leonard. Will be covering that Leonard Norris fight for Sports Center as always.
Finish it with a flourish.
Well, Martin is putting a punctuation mark on what for him is going to be a satisfying victory unless something shocking happens.
And Allison giving it his best shot.
Oh, he really is. Donnie Allison has tried hard in this bout. Make no mistake about it. It's a little bit like David Taylor against Charles Murray a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you can really see why Donald Allison has won 12 of his first 14 fights with a draw.
Against a lesser opponent, his style would have worked tonight.
Crowd on its feet. There'll be joy on the buses going back to Philadelphia.
If they stay away from the tables, they'll have a great night. Tony Martin will be a winner for him.
Big shot by Martin with 15 seconds left.
Allison opened up here in this round and made himself a more vulnerable target. Martin has hurt him with some shots. Martin tired also.
Valiant effort, though, by Allison.
Has tried very, very hard. In a very interesting and exciting match.
Very entertaining fight. I think Tony Martin might have a cramp in his leg or might have hurt his knee. That's a cramp, I believe.
Yeah, you look at him there rubbing it. And he is, he's happy about his win, but I think you're right. He did maybe just suffer a little minor injury there. You know, if it's minor, we assume it is.
We don't keep the glove. Yeah.
Saw it happen in the middle of that round. I think it's a muscular thing.
You know, 170 punches were thrown in the last round between those two guys.
That's a lot of punches in the 12th round of a fight.
As tired as they were, especially. They weren't all delivered perfectly because their technique left them a little bit, but nevertheless, they threw a lot of punches. Here is where Martin got him on the ropes, landed some very nice shots. The uppercut especially, of course, that's a big weapon for him. And the hook, a very good one. So Donald Allison, but you see him fighting back. He tried right to the end and had to exchange with Martin in the last round to have any shot at victory.
All right, let's get the word here from Michael Buffer. Here's the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I give the official scoring, let's give it up for these two young junior welterweights. From the Trump Taj Mahal, we go to the scorecards. Al DeVito scores the bout 115 to 113. Vinny Ranoni scores it 116 to 112. Eugene Grant has it 118 to 110. For the winner of this title, Tony Powell.
Some widely divergent scoring, but the bottom line is Tony Martin's the unanimous decision winner. He's got one belt. He would dearly like to have another, and I think he'll get a chance. Here's a look of a winner. A hard night's work for that man, and a hard night's work for the guy next to him. Here's Al Bernstein.
Well, Tony Martin did have a hard night's work, and what also happened to him was that cramp we talked about started earlier than the 12th round. You had that in about the 8th or 9th.
Yeah, it came in about the 8th or 9th round. I said, oh, man, not now. You know, because I was just getting ready to start picking it up, and I feel that pain. I said, no. Let me say thanks to the Lord Jesus Christ. And this victory is for the people that's over in the Persian Gulf. And I just want to say thanks, and I was a serviceman myself, and the victory's for them.
All right, Tony, it looked like you almost changed your style here tonight. You knew you had to stalk him a lot. Was that true?
That's true. He moved a little bit more than I anticipated. Really, I wasn't expecting him to move to 12 rounds, but he did. So he made it a little difficult, especially when my leg caught the cramp. I was just getting ready to start picking it up. When that happened, I said, oh, man, well, let me just slow him up a little bit and just make sure I'm outpointing him anyhow. You know, I got to give him credit. He made it a tough fight for me. I mean, I never was hurt anything like that, but he's a herky-jerky type of guy and moving and makes it difficult.
Slick boxer. Are you ready to face top junior welterweights now?
Definitely. No, I told you earlier, these type of fights are always the hardest type of fights. You know very little about the guys, so they get out there and they always create difficulty for you. But you fight the guys in the top 10, you know them. Right. And I know everybody out there, so I'm ready for them.
They're going to know you soon, too. Congratulations.
Thanks, Al.
Tony Martin knows the guys out there. They're going to know him maybe in the ring. He could be a junior welterweight champion in the future. We'll see. We'll be back to close it out.